They sleep. That's the difference. While the average man hits snooze, turns over, and negotiates with his comfort, winners are already up, moving, grinding, building something the world can't see yet. You think success is about talent? You think money comes from luck? No, it comes from what you do when nobody is watching. It comes from the hours that don't get posted, the work that doesn't get praised, the sacrifices that nobody claps for. Broke men love sleep. Winners love progress. Let's be honest for a second. Sleep feels good. Comfort feels safe. Staying in bed, scrolling your phone, telling yourself, I'll start tomorrow, it feels easy. But easy has a price, and that price is your future. Every extra hour you sleep, someone else is working. Every excuse you make, someone else is leveling up. Every delay is a step backward in a world that rewards speed and discipline. And then people ask, why am I not successful yet? Because you chose comfort over growth. Because you fell in love with rest instead of results. Because you trained your mind to escape pressure instead of embracing it. Winners don't think like that. They don't wake up feeling motivated every day. They don't always feel strong. They don't always feel ready. But they move anyway. That's the difference. Discipline over feelings. Action over excuses. Progress over comfort. You see, broke men wait for the perfect moment. Winners create it. Broke men say, I'm tired. Winners say, do it anyway. Broke men say, I'll start Monday. Winners say, start now. Because deep down, winners understand something most people ignore. Your life is built in the moments you don't feel like working. That's where the real growth happens. Not when it's easy. Not when you're excited. Not when everything feels perfect. But when you're tired, when you're stressed, when your body says stop, but your vision says keep going. That's where winners are made. Look around. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards execution. You can have big dreams, big ideas, big goals. But if you stay in bed while others are chasing theirs, you lose. Simple. There's someone out there right now, working harder than you. They don't know you. They don't care about you. But they're taking your spot. The job you want, they're preparing for it. The life you dream of, they're building it. The money you wish for, they're earning it. While you sleep, let that sink in, because this isn't motivation. This is reality. And reality doesn't care about your excuses. You say you want success, but your habits say otherwise. You say you want money, but your discipline is weak. You say you want a better life, but you keep choosing the same comfortable patterns. Winners break patterns. They do what's hard. They do what's uncomfortable. They do what others avoid. And that's why they win. Early mornings, late nights, no applause, no shortcuts, just work, over and over again. You don't need more time. You need more focus. You don't need more motivation. You need more discipline. Because motivation fades. It comes and goes. But discipline stays. Discipline wakes you up when you don't want to wake up. Discipline pushes you when you feel weak. Discipline keeps you going when everything inside you says quit. That's what separates winners from everyone else. It's not intelligence. It's not background. It's not luck. It's consistency. Doing the work every single day, even when it's boring, even when it's painful, even when nobody notices. Because winners don't work for attention. They work for results. They don't need validation. They don't need approval. They just need progress. Ask yourself this. What are you doing with your time? Are you building something, or are you wasting it? Are you getting closer to your goals or further away? Because time doesn't stop. It keeps moving. And every second you waste is a second you can't get back. That's why winners are obsessed with time. They protect it. They use it wisely. They invest it like it's the most valuable thing in the world. Because it is. Money can be made again. Opportunities can come again. But time, once it's gone. Forever. So while others sleep, winners build. While others complain, winners execute. While others dream, winners take action. And that's why, years later, the difference becomes obvious. One life is full of regret. The other is full of results. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens daily, in small choices, in silent sacrifices, in moments nobody sees. That's where your future is decided, not in big events, not in lucky breaks, but in your daily routine. So the next time your alarm goes off, you have a choice. Stay in bed or get up and fight for your future. Choose comfort or choose growth. Choose sleep or choose success. Because you can have both. And deep down, you already know what you need to do. Good. Because knowing what to do and actually doing it are two completely different things. Most people know they should wake up early. They know they should work harder. They know they should stay disciplined. But they don't. Why? Because their mind is weak. It negotiates. Just 5 more minutes. I'll do it later. I deserve a break. That voice, that's the voice that keeps people broke. Winners hear that same voice too. But they don't listen. They shut it down immediately because they understand something powerful. Every time you give in to weakness, you train your mind to stay weak. Every time you choose comfort, you make it harder to choose discipline next time. It's a pattern, and patterns build your life. You're not broke because of one bad decision. You're broke because of repeated small choices. Sleeping in, avoiding work, delaying action, over and over again. That becomes your identity. And once it becomes your identity, it controls everything. Your habits, your income, your future. Winners break that cycle. They don't let their feelings control them. They control their actions regardless of how they feel. That's power. Real power isn't money. It's control over yourself. Think about it. If you can't control when you wake up, if you can't control your focus, if you can't control your discipline, how do you expect to control your life? You can't. And that's why so many people stay stuck. They want results without changing their behavior. They want success without sacrifice. They want a better life, but they refuse to become better themselves. That's not how it works. Growth demands pain. Success demands effort. And discipline demands consistency. There is no shortcut, no hack, no secret formula. Just work. Relentless, repetitive, sometimes boring work. That's what builds winners. And most people can't handle that. They want excitement. They want instant results. They want fast success. But real success? It's slow. It's built in silence. Day by day, brick by brick. And most importantly, it's built when you don't feel like doing it. Those early mornings when your body is heavy. Those nights when your eyes are tired. Those moments when everything inside you says stop. That's when it matters the most. Because that's where discipline is tested. Anyone can work when they feel good. Anyone can push when they're motivated. But can you work when you're exhausted? Can you stay focused when you're distracted? Can you keep going when you see no results? That's the real question. Because winners can. They don't rely on emotions. They rely on standards. They have a standard for how they live, a standard for how they work, a standard for how they show up every single day. And they don't lower that standard no matter what. Bad mood? Work anyway. Tired? Work anyway. No motivation? Work anyway. Because their goals are bigger than their feelings. That's the mindset you need. Not motivation. Not hype. Standards. You need to decide the kind of person you are going to be. Not sometimes. Every day. Are you the type who quits when it's hard? Or the type who keeps going no matter what? Because your answer will define your future. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to knock on your door and hand you success. No one cares enough to build your life for you. It's on you. All of it. Your success, your failure, your habits, your discipline, everything. And once you truly understand that, you stop making excuses. You stop blaming others. You stop waiting. And you start acting. Immediately, that's when your life changes. Not when you learn something new. Not when you watch another motivational video. But when you take action. Because information without action is useless. You can listen to motivation all day, but if you don't move, nothing changes. Winners don't just listen. They execute. They take what they know and they apply it. Fast. Without hesitation. That's another difference. Speed. Broke men hesitate. They overthink. They doubt themselves. Winners move. even if it's not perfect, even if they're unsure, because they understand that imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. Waiting kills dreams. Action builds them. So while others are stuck thinking, winners are building momentum. And momentum is everything. Once you start moving, it gets easier to keep moving. Once you start working, it gets easier to stay focused. Once you build discipline, it becomes part of who you are. But the hardest part? Starting. That first step. That moment when you choose to get up instead of staying in bed. That moment when you choose to work instead of scroll. That moment when you choose discipline over comfort. That's where everything begins. And most people fail right there. They never start. Or they start and then stop because it gets hard, because it gets boring, because it takes time. But winners, they don't stop. They keep going. Even when progress is slow. Even when results are invisible. Even when nobody believes in them. Because they don't need external validation. They trust the process. They trust their work. They trust that if they keep showing up, results will come. And they do. Always. It might take months. It might take years. But consistent effort never fails. Never. So the real question is, can you stay consistent? Can you keep going when it's not exciting anymore? Can you stay disciplined when no one is watching? Can you work when you don't feel like it? Because if you can, you separate yourself from 99% of people. You become dangerous. You become unstoppable. And that's when everything changes. Your mindset shifts. Your habits improve. Your confidence grows. And slowly, your life starts to reflect your effort. More opportunities, more income, more freedom. Not because you got lucky, but because you earned it through discipline, through sacrifice, through showing up every single day, while others slept, while others quit, while others made excuses. You worked, and that's why you win. Now you're starting to see it. This isn't about sleep. It's about mindset. Because two people can have the same 24 hours, but live completely different lives. One wastes it, one builds with it. And the difference isn't luck. It's standards. Winners live by code. A non-negotiable standard that doesn't change based on mood, weather, or circumstances. They don't ask, do I feel like working today? They ask, what needs to be done? And then they do it. No drama. No excuses. No delays. That's how real progress is made. You see, broke men focus on what they feel. Winners focus on what they must do. Feelings are temporary. They change every hour, every minute. But standards? Standards are fixed. Standards are what you fall back on when motivation disappears. And motivation always disappears. That's why you can't rely on it. If you only work when you feel good, you'll barely work at all. Because most days won't feel perfect. Most days will feel average. Some days will feel terrible. And those are the days that matter the most. Because those are the days that test you. Those are the days that reveal who you really are. Anyone can talk about goals. Anyone can post quotes. Anyone can say, I want to be successful. But when it's 5 a.m., when it's cold, when your body is tired, that's when truth shows up. That's when you either get up or you stay average. And average is expensive. It costs you your dreams. It costs you your freedom. It costs you the life you could have lived. But most people don't realize that. They think average is safe. It's not. It's dangerous. Because it keeps you stuck. It keeps you comfortable enough to survive, but never uncomfortable enough to grow. And growth only happens when you push beyond what's easy. You don't grow in comfort zones. You don't level up by doing what's convenient. You grow by doing what's difficult, over and over again. That's why winners chase discomfort. They don't avoid it. They lean into it. They look at hard tasks and say, good, because they know that's where the edge is. That's where the separation happens. While everyone else is avoiding the hard path, they're walking straight into it. And that's why they dominate. Let me tell you something most people won't say. You don't need more information. You already know enough. You know you should wake up earlier. You know you should work harder. You know you should stay focused. The problem isn't knowledge. The problem is execution. You're not lacking ideas. You're lacking discipline. Because discipline is doing what you already know you should do without being told, without being pushed, without being forced. Self-discipline, that's the real game. And it's hard because nobody is watching. Nobody is forcing you. Nobody is checking if you actually did the work. It's just you and your choices every single day. That's why most people fail. Because when there's no pressure, they relax. When there's no accountability, they slack. When there's no urgency, they delay. Winners create their own pressure. They hold themselves accountable. They act with urgency even when they don't have to, because they understand something powerful. If you don't push yourself, life will push you. And life doesn't push gently. It hits hard, with bills, with responsibilities, with regrets. And by the time most people wake up, it's too late. Years wasted. Opportunities gone. Potential unused. Don't let that be you. Don't be the person who realizes too late. Don't be the person who says, I wish I started earlier. Start now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, because the longer you wait, the harder it gets. The longer you delay, the further behind you fall. And the truth is, time doesn't care. It keeps moving, with or without you. So you either move with it or you get left behind. There is no middle ground. You're either progressing or you're regressing. Even when you think you're standing still, you're not, because the world is moving forward. And if you're not keeping up, you're falling behind. That's reality. And winners understand this deeply. That's why they don't waste time. That's why they don't wait. That's why they don't make excuses. They act fast, consistently, relentlessly. They treat every day like it matters, because it does. Every day is a chance to improve, a chance to build, a chance to get closer to your goals, or a chance to waste it all. The choice is always yours. And your life is nothing more than the result of those choices, stacked over time, day after day, week after week, year after year. That's how success is built, not in one big moment, but in thousands of small decisions. Wake up or sleep in, work or procrastinate, focus or get distracted. Small choices, big consequences. That's the formula. And once you understand that, everything changes. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop chasing quick wins. You stop expecting instant results. And you start focusing on the process, the daily grind, the consistent effort, because that's where the real power is. Consistency beats talent. Consistency beats motivation. Consistency beats everything. If you show up every single day and do the work, you will win. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because most people won't last. They'll quit. They'll get distracted. They'll lose focus. But if you stay locked in, if you stay disciplined, if you keep going when others stop, you automatically rise. That's how rare consistency is. That's how powerful it is. So stop looking around. Stop comparing yourself. Stop worrying about what others are doing. Focus on you, your work, your habits, your discipline, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Not opinions, not validation, not approval, results. And results come from action. Relentless, focused, consistent action. Day in, day out. No breaks in standards. No compromises. Just work. And when you adopt that mindset, something powerful happens. You stop fearing hard work. You stop avoiding challenges. You stop making excuses. And you start becoming the person capable of winning. Because success isn't something you chase. It's something you become ready for. And most people aren't ready. They want the reward. But they're not willing to become the person who deserves it. This is where it all comes together. Not in theory. Not in motivation. But in reality. Because at the end of the day, your life is a reflection of your habits. Nothing more. Nothing less. You don't accidentally become successful. You don't randomly build wealth. You don't magically create discipline. You build it, choice by choice, day by day, action by action. And most people, they underestimate that. They think success is one big moment, one lucky break, one opportunity that changes everything. But that's not how it works. Success is built long before anyone sees it. In the mornings when you get up and no one is watching. In the nights when you keep working and everyone else has stopped. In the moments where you choose discipline over comfort again and again. That's where the real story is written. That's where your future is decided. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard. Let me tell you the truth most people avoid. You're always being tested. Every single day. Not by other people, but by life itself. Testing your discipline. Testing your focus. Testing your consistency. And every test has two options. Give in or level up. Stay comfortable or grow. Sleep or work. And these tests don't come once in a while. They come daily. That alarm in the morning, that's a test. That urge to scroll instead of work, that's a test. That feeling of laziness, that's a test. And how you respond, that's who you become. It's not complicated. It's just hard. Because passing these tests requires something most people don't have. Self-control. The ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. That's rare. That's powerful. And that's exactly why winners stand out. Because while everyone else is controlled by their emotions, winners control their actions. They don't let temporary feelings destroy long-term goals. They don't let comfort steal their future. They don't let weakness dictate their decisions. They stay locked in, focused, disciplined, relentless, and over time, that compounds, that effort builds, that discipline creates momentum, and momentum changes everything. At first, it's hard, really hard. Waking up early feels painful. Working long hours feels exhausting. Staying consistent feels impossible. But then something shifts. You adapt. You get stronger. You become sharper. What used to feel hard becomes normal. What used to feel impossible becomes routine. That's growth. That's transformation. And it only happens if you stay in the game long enough. Most people quit too early. They start strong, then disappear. They get motivated, then fall off. They talk big, then do nothing. Not because they're incapable, but because they lack endurance. They can't handle the long road. But winners, they embrace it. They understand that greatness takes time. They understand that results are delayed. They understand that consistency beats intensity. So they keep going, even when it's boring, even when it's repetitive, even when it feels like nothing is happening, because they trust the process. They trust that every small effort is building something bigger. And it is, even when you don't see it. Progress is happening. Skills are improving. Habits are forming. Discipline is growing. You're becoming better, stronger, more focused, more capable. And one day, it shows. Suddenly, people notice. They see the results. They see the success. They see the difference. And they ask, how did you do it? They didn't see the early mornings. They didn't see the sacrifices. They didn't see the grind. They only see the outcome. But you know the truth. It wasn't luck. It wasn't talent. It was work. Relentless, consistent, disciplined work. While others slept. While others doubted. While others quit. You kept going. And that's why you're ahead. That's why you're different. That's why you win. But listen carefully. This doesn't stop. There is no finish line. No point where you say, I've made it. Now I can relax forever. Because the moment you relax too much, you start falling back. The moment you get comfortable, you lose your edge. And winners never lose their edge. They stay hungry. They stay focused. They stay disciplined. Not because they have to, but because it's who they are. It becomes their identity. They don't force themselves to work. They are the type of person who works. They don't struggle with discipline. They live it. That's the ultimate level, where discipline isn't something you try to do. It's who you are. And once you reach that point, everything changes. You don't need motivation anymore. You don't need reminders. You don't need external pressure, because your standard is set. And you don't break it, no matter what. So now, it comes back to you, right here, right now. No more talking. No more planning. No more waiting. Just a decision. Who are you going to be? The one who sleeps? Or the one who works? The one who makes excuses? Or the one who takes action? the one who stays average, or the one who builds something great. Because you can't be both. You can't live in comfort and expect growth. You can't avoid hard work and expect success. You can't stay the same and expect different results. Something has to change, and that something is you. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, right now, make the decision.